Small town. Damn, that's you strictly. Small town. Damn, that's you strictly. Small town. Damn, that's you strictly.
Ladies and gentlemen, as it turns out, Caitlin Clark is on an MVP tear. Jamar Chase still hasn't been paid, and we are back to give you the real in sports. I'm your co-host, Small Town EP. They are Wade Julian live from New York City, Big Kev Shotty live from South Florida. You are now tuned into your number one sports talk show, All Things Sports, brought to you by Small Town Productions. Gentlemen, great to have you. How is everybody doing on this great evening, Julian?
I'm doing well. It's like I said last time, it's fall. Like the weather is perfect outside. You step outside and feel like crisp breeze, football's in the air. My parents are in town this weekend, so
Beautiful.
it should be a fun weekend with the family. And it's NFL week one. Football is back. I just everybody that knows me knows how much I love football, and words can't explain, the excitement I feel around the first 2 weeks of September. So that's how I'm doing. I appreciate you for asking. How about yourselves, man?
I'm doing great, man. Like you said, it's I woke up today to 68-degree weather. I sent you a
Yeah,
screenshot.
you
I
sent
was
me
like,
that
let's
text.
go. This is nice. This feels good. I can't complain. Kev, how you doing?
I'm doing good, but I'm not doing as good as Chicago White Sox clubhouse
Oh
because
man.
for the first time in almost 2 weeks, they're in the win. So
Hey, it's a beautiful thing,
Hey,
I guess.
and that's coming after a night where Grady Sizemore was ejected for the first time in his career, and we saw that collision in the outfield. Like it just went bad yesterday, and so shout out to the White Sox because at the end of the day, we can make our jokes, but it's got to be grueling for what the White Sox players are going through in that clubhouse this whole year. And so,
Absolutely.
that's something that they can at least tonight, kind of just all right. Shout out to the
and
White Sox.
there gets to a point in the season where it's almost impressive that you're still showing up to work. But that's the point that they're at right now.
Oh
They're
man.
still making money.
We'll get to baseball in a bit, but we gonna start with something I mentioned in the intro. Jamar Chase still looking for that contract extension, but we did get some clips, some footage today of him walking onto a practice field, full pads, ready to go. Could this get sticky, June? How important is it to have him this week, week one?
It's sticky. It is sticky. It's not about it getting. It's about, is it gonna become an issue going into the regular season? And here we stand. What's today? The 4th. Shout out to my sister, by the way. September 4th. It is her day. Shout out to you, Crystal. Uh, love you. Happy birthday.
Love that.
You know what I'm saying? Big up. So, I mean, you don't have Jamar Chase practicing all offseason, no OTAs, none of that. And, we're here a couple days away from the opening night or opening day, and you guys are kind of going back and forth with the best player on your team besides your quarterback, as far as, because I had to do that, EP. But about are we going to get it done when eventually it's going to get done regardless. I understand the front office perspective as far as, like, we want to do it our way or you're still under contract. However, the argument Jamar Chase can make is that, one, again, like I said, it's inevitable. He's going to get paid. He's going to become, if not the highest, right up under that Justin Jefferson. I think Justin Jefferson's getting 110 guaranteed with 4 years, 140 million. And so whether he surpasses that or not, I think the better chance for him to stay under that would be getting the deal done now, whereas he has a great season and he does a deal next year, I think the number is just going to rise. So you might as well try to get it while it's hot. You have this guy who changes the whole dynamic of your offense and instantly turns you into a Super Bowl contender with all the other weapons you guys have. The continuity in the building would be great. What are we doing with Jamar Chase? He's out on the practice field. He's not holding out and staying home. Today he went through a limited practice, as you mentioned. He didn't do much, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it shows me that it's somebody that cares. It's somebody that wants to be there, but he's also understanding that, look, we gotta figure this out real quick. Even, interesting, we're not talking about Brandon Ayuk much today or the 49ers. Well, we will preview them probably in their first game, but Brandon Ayuk came out and said to the media today, or it was yesterday or today, that he possibly or probably made things a little more difficult than they had to be at the end of those negotiations. Good for him, though. Like, make it as difficult as possible, because at the end of the day, the reporter asked him, leading the question was like, is it going to be like, is it true that it's just like all love at the end of the day and everything's forgotten once this happens? And he didn't say yes or no, but he answered with, what I said. And at the end of the day, this is money. You know what I'm saying? This is your money and your future that you're trying to negotiate for the best way possible for yourself. And the team is going to do the same for them. However, the team doesn't have the leverage in a situation that you have, where you are the all-star, all-pro player who can bring them to the promised land. And when you're Jamar Chase, I think you have the right to do what he's doing. That's kind of where I'm at and where my head's been around this Jamar Chase thing. But it's interesting, bro. It's Wednesday night. They play Sunday afternoon.
And we're waiting. We're waiting in Sao Paulo.
However, no, Eagles and Packers are in Brazil, actually.
Yeah,
But
you're right. I'm tripping.
yeah,
You're right.
Jamar Chase didn't speak to the media today after practice. He is planning to talk to them tomorrow after practice. So I don't know what that means.
Hey man, him and T Higgins were also apparently reported the two last players to come out to the practice field. They, like you said, participated in a limited practice. I mean, this is a guy that we already saw him sit out an entire season in college, and it was just like, I'm not playing. So like you say, the team definitely does not have the upper hand with this matter. Now, Kev, should Cincinnati just give in and pay him right now, or should they just play this out and see what kind of game of chicken they can get into?
I mean, it's crazy that the Bengals have put themselves in probably the worst predicament of any team when it comes to having to pay your guys when they tag T Higgins and now go into the regular season with the whole Jamar Chase thing still not solved. So I think at this point, like, you have two receivers who both want to get paid. You haven't paid either, and they're probably going to use each other's contract talks against each other when it comes down to it. And T Higgins, I'm sure, is asking to be paid, maybe not Jamar Chase money, but close to it. And the Bengals are considering, can we do that? Like, can we realistically pay two wide receivers? We already paid our quarterback. Can we pay two wide receivers without tying up money anywhere else to help
Yeah.
make this team better. And so I think that's the biggest holdup is Cincinnati needing to figure out that situation between those two before they end up with zero receivers uh, of the talent
Sign
that T.
Jamar
Higgins
Chase.
and Jamar Chase are. Right. Like at the end of the day, that's
Just sign Jamar
at
Chase,
the end
bro.
of the day, that's what it comes down to. Like you have a guy who's a, a spectacular talent. I don't want to throw
Number
the word.
five pick. Number
Yeah,
five pick.
I was gonna use the word generational, but I don't like
I
throwing
mean,
that word out loosely.
number five at receiver, and
Um,
we've seen what he did. You can argue.
yeah, I
You can
mean,
argue.
but he's the talent is obviously there. He's one of the best in the league. You need to pay him as such, and get the show on the road.
So, June, the 8.5 points that they are favored over New England this weekend at home in Cincinnati. Is it too many points without Jamar Chase on the field?
No. Without Jamar Chase, I still think how 8.5.
Eight and
I
a
think
half.
Cincinnati could win this game by 10 points. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we saw New England struggle offensively last season. And uh Jacoby Brissett, well respected. I'm gonna get into this coat sweater because I've worn this a few times now. I'm gonna get into my reason,
Ha ha
and I
ha
have a
ha.
question for y'all as well. But I got a lot of respect for Jacoby Brissett. I don't see the weapons for that offense to just click and go. I think that that's something that's going to take a couple weeks to oil up and see what they got. You know how Ramondre Stevenson's touches are going to look, and so right now I don't see them bolstering up a bunch of points and scoring 20. So if I could see Cincinnati scoring 20 without Jamar Chase, which I can, and to New England's credit, they have a good defense. They have some athletes on that defense. They did trade Judon, so they don't, they're going to be lacking from that. And, it's one of the bigger positions pass rush. But I could see Cincinnati putting up, a 10 plus point win on this. Joe Burrow's going to come out firing, man. I ain't going to lie. Like, I was going to the last point with Jamar Chase, say, like, they've put themselves in a weird position, speaking on what Kev said, knowing that the continuity can just be so well, and Joe Burrow missing the time he did last year, like get the show on the road, as what Kev said. It's like we got to get this together for Sunday. Being as though they're in the position they're at, I still believe their offense is well enough to go and score 20, 25 points on New England and hold them to less than 2 touchdowns.
Okay, what do you
And
think?
yeah, no, I mean to just add to that, I mean, looking at uh T. Higgins last year had 42 catches. Um the Everyone else on the current depth chart, not named Jamar Chase, had a combined 47 catches last season. So like there, even with the 12 games played, like T. Higgins clearly wasn't himself last season. He was banged up. He still gave you the production that four other guys on the depth chart are getting you, not named Jamar Chase. So
Yeah.
you need Jamar Chase on the field, especially for Joe Burrow, if anything. And yeah, I mean, it's something you got to get done at that point. And but yeah, I think New England is just not going to be a good team. So regardless on the field or not, which I think he will be, uh, should win this game.
There it is. Let's keep it in the NFL. Week 1, like June mentioned, is here. Opening night tomorrow. We'll get to that Chiefs game in a second, in a bit, but we'll start with the Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Sao Paulo, Brazil. Philly minus 2.5 points. Slight favorite. Kev, give me some key pointers in this game, and do you like those 2.5 points going either way?
Um, I I like the -2 for Philly. I think they're going to come out and I think they're going to I think they're going to look good. Honestly, like I know they went out this offseason, spent a bunch of money, added Saquon, added Bryce Huff on the defensive side. But and I know there's a lot of hype around the team, and also been a lot of noise regarding the Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni relationship. So I think this is a year that this team kind of comes together, and I think they're They're my favorite to win the NFC East this year. Um, I think they come out and they make a statement week one.
June.
Yeah, I think Philadelphia did a great job this offseason going piggybacking off what Kev said. That offense looks like it could be one of the most exciting in the league if they can get it together. Kellen Moore's there now, so we're going to see a different scheme. And I'm watching ESPN and they're asking, like, oh, is Jalen Hurts going to be able to kind of adjust to the system? And it's like, I mean, we've seen Jalen Hurts go from Oklahoma or from Alabama to Oklahoma, completely different offenses, come to the NFL and ball out, as soon as he got the opportunity to do so, throw for 500 yards in a Super Bowl against a Kansas City Chiefs defense, Spagnolo. Like, why are we doubting Jalen Hurts? That's my thing. So I do think Jalen Hurts is going to shine in this new offense Kellen Moore is bringing. I do think the Eagles are going to look very polished from the get-go because Devontae Smith and AJ Brown are two guys you can just put out there to either get open, and if they don't get open, they can still come down with the ball. You add a Josh Dotson, who was a first-round pick not too long ago, maybe I think 3 years ago, and Dallas Goddard being a seasoned veteran Philadelphia perfect tight end, like he's just an Eagles tight end, and then you add Saquon Barkley, like Saquon Barkley is not somebody you add and you're like, all right, we got to figure this. No, bro, put him on the field and make sure he gets the ball. That's all you
Yeah.
got to do with Saquon. Everybody else is going to eat around Saquon, and that's how it should be because he's so dynamic. One, you have to run the ball with as far as a dominant offensive line that you guys are bringing. You have to run the ball, and then once that gets going, you get him out of the backfield, for short routes, and you still got three different, first round talents. So it's a luxury to be playing with the talents that Jalen Hurts is having, and to be coached under Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni for that matter, because I do think he's a good coach still. Um, but the Eagles are going to have to prove that they can continue to play good and both sides of the ball. Jason Kelsey is a big loss. Like we talk about it a little bit, but I think it's bigger than we're talking about it. So that's going to be my thing that I'm really looking at. Like, is that going to be a cool transition for them? Whatever. And then defensively, they bring in Devin White. I think he's going to miss this game. Nakobe Dean, they're saying he looks ready to start now. They got fucking, excuse my language, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis on that defensive line who are coming into their second and third years in the NFL. And so, you look around and they have everything you want. But on that other side of the ball is one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the National Football League. And his name is Jordan Love. And he's out to prove a point this year because as soon as he got that contract, there's a lot of congratulations, but there's also on the flip side a lot of questions. There's a lot of expectation, and then there's also the unknown because he's not proven, like he's not a season proven. He has proved himself in big time moments and played well, in a season and a half or so, but he doesn't have a 5-year resume where you look like, all right, this is Jordan Love. So Jordan Love is still out to prove his name and live up to his contract. And so it starts week one. And him getting a win against a tough, if not the best NFC team, is going to be a big deal. Yeah.
You mentioned, some guys on the defense. I think the biggest piece that they brought back is CJ Gardner-Johnson. He was part of that defense when they went to the Super Bowl. 2022, that defense had 17 interceptions to the Eagles throwing 9 interceptions. 2023, that almost flipped the other way where the Eagles threw 16 interceptions and that defense got 9 interceptions. So literally almost flipped, and CJ had 6 of those interceptions in 2022. So he was big for that defense in 2022 that helped lead them to the Super Bowl that year. So I think him being back is huge for that defense.
And look what he did in 2023 with the Lions and making them get to their or helping them get to their first NFC championship, in as long as fucking time. So it's like he's clearly an impact player, and he's somebody that he's one of those people that you might not like if he's not on your team, but he fits the Philadelphia and Detroit attitude perfectly. And so I'm glad he's back in Philadelphia. It's going to be exciting. I want to say you know, I want to say that Nick Sirianni, the relationship, it's they figured things out. They're gonna come out here and put out a good performance for those people of Brazil. But I don't know, man. I'm just something's just telling me like the Packers might come out of here with this dub, and they're the one of the youngest, if not the youngest teams, one of the fastest teams in the league, and Matt LaFleur is just ready. I know he's got them prepared, So I'm just waiting to see what type of Eagles we're gonna get week one.
Yeah. Yeah, that game Friday night, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Corinthians Arena in Sao Paulo, Brazil, home to Sporting Club Corinthians Paulista, in case anyone was wondering. We'll keep it in the NFL Sunday afternoon, 1 p.m. June. Your Colts are picking up this season where they left off last season. Underdogs at home versus the Houston Texans. That nail biter you guys lost in week 17 last year. Houston was minus 1.5-point favorites on the road in that last game of the year last year. This first game of the year, they are on the road back in Lucas Oil Stadium, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, as a whole field goal favorite, -3, Houston Texans at Indianapolis Colts. June, I'm not even going to ask you who you got, but I want you to tell me what are going to be some key factors going either way on those 3 points.
Right. Yeah, I mean, okay, so I wanted to start with the sweater, right? I did say that. The sweater is, I don't have a lot of Colts merch, and I got a couple things back home in Florida, T.Y. Hilton, Andrew Luck, probably a couple hats, and I didn't bring all that here. I do need to get more, and I will. I want to get y'all opinion on, should this be not necessarily retired, but chill on that Colt sweater. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wore that shit a couple times. Should it be that, or should this be the lucky Colt sweater? Now, I went to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers not wild card game. This was like it was late in the season, and so we didn't make the playoffs, and we won. I don't believe I wore this the night of the Texans game, but I might have, so I can't call it. I don't know if I should make this my lucky sweater or if I should just kind of retire this. I would hope to get some opinion from y'all boys and see what y'all think.
I wore my Chiefs hat every game last year in the postseason, and every game that I watched. We didn't win every game, but we won the ones that matter.
Listen, I'm for it. My dad's a Giants fan, and in that first Super Bowl against the Patriots, he got pissed off when the Patriots took the lead and took his hat and threw it. It landed in the corner. Giants came back and won the Super Bowl. And so for the next Super Bowl, he took the same hat and put it right back in that corner. And they won another Super Bowl. So
hey,
the only way to know is to test it,
Yeah. All right. So I'm rocking with this. It's comfortable. I think it looks nice. The blue, pops. So I'm gonna rock with this. This is the 2024 official Colts X Julian Lucky sweater.
Very nice.
We got Houston on Sunday, man. We got Anthony Richardson coming back for the first time. The last time he was involved in a game, it was against the Titans, so he had some AFC South action. But the last time he played this Texans team on the road in Houston, which a game we won, Gardner Minshew ended up finishing. Anthony leaves with a concussion. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in the first 2 quarters. And so, mind you, through 4 weeks, he had 4 rushing touchdowns. And the Texans didn't have an answer for him. The answer was hit him as he's going in the end zone. He'll get a concussion. He won't play the rest of the game. We'll still lose. But this year, I'm interested to see. I understand that the Texans bolstered up their defense. Adding Danielle Hunter, I think, is a great addition just for someone to be able to consistently get to the quarterback. This AFC South has a lot of young talent who's athletic. So they did their deed there. But their defensive backs are still a little shaky. And we saw that in the playoff game when they played against the Ravens and Lamar was able to dice them up. Anthony Richardson is no Lamar Jackson. There's no comparison. I'm not doing that. But hey, Anthony Richardson played a great deal of football the last time he saw this team, and that's the only thing I can kind of base it off of. Plus the addition of AD Mitchell. Hopefully Josh Downs will be ready week 1. I think the Colts can go out here and make some noise for themselves because we're going to be at home. We're still underdogs, as you mentioned. However, everybody's question for Anthony Richardson is like, is he going to stay healthy? One and two, what is it? What is he going to be? What is he? We want to see it. And so, it being so short lived last year, there's a lot of hype around it now. This is a big opportunity for him to make a splash and for the Colts to show that, hey, we are one of the top contenders in the AFC this year, in a deep AFC at that. So don't just write us as wild card. We're trying to win this division, and we wholeheartedly believe we will win this division. So that's the mindset I want the Colts to kind of show up with, and I'm 100% certain that we'll see that. On the other side, it's not no easy task. This is CJ Stroud, rookie of the year, one of the offensive players of the year. I mean, when we talk about making it look easy versus everybody's defense, especially the Colts, it's scary. And he carved us up last year. And our point of attack has to be getting to the quarterback. Like, we have to disrupt him and make the throwing lanes uncomfortable. We have to disrupt him and make him have to get out of the pocket and throw, without set feet. Because once his feet are set and he knows where he's gonna kill you. So if the Colts pass rush, our first round pick, Liatu Latu, you know what I mean, can go out there and prove he is that guy. I'm not gonna put this on his back. He don't got to win us the game. However, hey, we did draft you at number 15 overall, and we do expect some big things. Samson Ibukam, he gets hurt, tears his Achilles, misses the season. It's now up to you. So I got the Colts in a close one. We're home. I think the energy is going to be there. And yeah, I mean, Stephon Diggs in that offense, we're gonna have to. It's gonna take a couple weeks for them to gel. Joe Mixon, it looked like a little fantasy team over there. So it'll take a couple
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, I want to kick it over to the chat real quick. Mark in there, hanging out with us. As far as the last game,
Yo,
he said it's going to be a close one, but he is predicting an Eagles W in Brazil. And then he said Julian's a Colts fan. Julian is a lifelong Colts fan, loud
yeah,
and
baby.
proud. Now, Kev, we know in football you get 3 points if you're at home automatically. So the Texans getting 3 points on the road. Vegas is saying they're 6 points better than Indianapolis. Is that accurate or is that too many points? You're on mute. You're on mute, Kev.
My bad.
You're good.
I mean, I guess it's tough to it's really tough to call it because I don't think we've seen this Colts team with Anthony Richardson
Right.
like fully. So it's tough to say like if Anthony Richardson is anything like he was last year in the glimpses that we were able to see him, like this Colts team could probably hang with Houston. Like he looked like a quarterback that had it together. He looked like Cam Newton. Like,
Hmm.
but he had it together early. Like, and that's not something that you expected from him. I think I saw a stat today that he's played 17 games. He started in 17 games since high school. Like that's
Damn.
college and in the pros. He started in 17 games. He's going into year 2 of the NFL, his NFL career now. So hasn't had a lot of game action, hasn't had a lot of game film. So it's something that he might be doing something unorthodox that defenses are trying to figure out because there's not really much out there to scout on him yet. And I think he can see some success early on in the season still because of that reason. And hopefully he can build on that and continue to grow as a player because he's still so young and able to do that. So, but you know, it's tough to say that they're a 6 point favorite without seeing them. But as is, if I had to say yes or no, I would say it's right about where I would say right now. Like I love what Houston did in the offseason with going and getting Diggs, going and getting Mixon for Stroud to help him improve. Like he's going into
Yeah.
year 2, coming off a year where he was considered an MVP candidate. Like there's only, one way to go if you surround him with the right talent. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what that Houston team looks like because if Stephon Diggs can be Stephon Diggs that we know, then that team is going to be a problem.
For sure.
Let's take it up to Cleveland, where the Cowboys will be in town, 2.5 point dogs on the road. The Cleveland Browns -2.5 point favorites. A lot of controversy surrounding Dallas this offseason as far as free agents and extensions. They took care of CeeDee Lamb. Dak is still on the awaits. On the other side, on the home side of things, Deshaun Watson. I mean, we haven't seen him necessarily play to the caliber of the big bank, the Brinks truck that they backed up for him. It hasn't really been justified yet. Kev, who are we going to see in this matchup take off? Is there a better chance that we see a legendary, I don't want to say legendary, but let's call it legendary Deshaun Watson performance or a legendary Dak Prescott performance?
I mean, I feel like legendary Dak Prescott performance only goes one way, and it's not good. Like, I feel like those are the legendary Dak Prescott performances that we remember.
Wow.
Um, and I'm a Dak fan, but I'm saying, like, when you think like legendary Dak Prescott performances, like
Yeah, you don't
it's
have
usually
a
not.
because
There's
there's
not
no
that moment.
playoff win. There's no playoff win.
Yeah,
I
there's
mean,
never. I mean, granted, they were robbed in Green Bay. That's neither here nor there. It happened. Um, but yeah, there's not like that moment for him. And there's moments for Deshaun. Like we've seen Deshaun Watson be elite and do it when it matters, whether it be in college or the pros. Uh, he's done it on the highest level.
yeah,
So uh, yeah, I think we're more like
Dez didn't catch it.
he caught it.
Ha 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 ha.
He caught it. Uh, but I think, I mean, if we see any version of Deshaun that we knew before everything happened, like that's another team that's dangerous.
That's true. All that is true, except X stands for incomplete. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like for me, there was a rumor I saw where the Browns were interested in trading a couple draft picks and Amari Cooper for Brandon Ayuk. And so obviously it's a business and Cooper can't get too in his head, but it kind of shows you how they feel about you. Because if you're Amari Cooper, you're like, wait, y'all gonna swap us out? You think he's just better than me off rip? Like that's what y'all saying right now. And whether he is or isn't, that's more for us to kind of debate and go over numbers. But Amari Cooper certainly does not think Brandon Ayuk is a better number one wide receiver than he is, and he shouldn't, because that's what makes you an elite wide receiver. You know, you got it. Mentality is part of it. I'm wondering if that's going to have any impact on the game. Plus, the relationship between Deshaun Watson and his wide receivers. I don't know it because you mentioned 230 million all guaranteed, hasn't really backed that up. We see him on the bench. We see him in street clothes more than pads and throwing
Street
touchdowns.
clothes.
It's like, do you have the respect in the locker room as the quarterback, as the should be captain of this team? And if you do, I'm sure you guys respond pretty well to that. But just a couple months ago, this team was rallied behind Joe Flacco, right? And everything was kind of like it was his team. And they went as he did, and that defense took him. He's not there no more. He's actually with us, thankfully. But I just wonder how the quarterback room situation is and the receiver quarterback relationship dynamic. I do think ultimately the Cowboys are just um, a better team, and that's saying a lot because the Browns made their run and their defense is as elite as it is. Kev, I get it, but I don't see Deshaun Watson good football so much. Like to me, it's like he hit that Russell Wilson arc of just like, all right, it's over. It's just over now. We ain't gonna see it no more. And so if we see it, of course, like this team can be as good as any team if their offense and defense can go at the same time. But I don't know that they're going to get that production from their quarterback. And if that's the case, I do believe the Cowboys are a better team than
Ooh, it's it's tough for
them.
me,
Yeah.
but if I had to put up my bottom dollar on it, I'm saying take Cowboys money line. Kick it over to the chat. Mark saying Cleveland defense at home will win them this game. They're gonna run the ball. Green Bay laid the blueprint. Let's take it up to Detroit, where another team will be picking up where they left off last season. The Rams. at Detroit. 3.5 point underdogs. Matthew Stafford returns to his hometown of Detroit, Ford Field. What a playoff game that they had there last year. Who I don't know, man. Something about the Rams this year that are kind of intriguing me. It's kind of intriguing me. Kev, how do you feel about this matchup? Is those 3.5 point? Are those 3.5 points not enough?
For the Rams,
For the Lions?
um, I mean, I think at home, Detroit, I think the Bills are going to be rocking on Sunday Night Football, and I know the Rams have a quarterback to deal with it, but I just think I think the Lions are too good, and I think they're gonna attack Stafford, and they're gonna get to him often, and I think the Lions should win this one pretty easily.
Yeah, I think if they're not coming out with the hunger from that NFC Championship loss, they have to be the Lions have to be this year. I don't think it's a hot take, but the most motivated team going into 2024. The most motivated team has to be the Detroit Lions for them to smell the success that they were able to get with the same roster. They have to believe that they can do it again and do it better this time, learning from the mistakes that they maybe went through down the line. So to me, they come out swinging, and if they lose, it's going to be a close one. It's not going to be a what happened here. It might be because Dan Campbell went for it on fourth down, and they didn't get it. But I think the Lions win this game.
Real quick, we'll talk about the Monday night game very briefly. Jets versus Niners. I'm just switching over to look at Kev's smile as I mentioned Jets versus Niners. The return of AR-12 in a green jersey. Kev, who you got in this matchup? Please be, non-biased.
Listen, I'm never biased on this show. I will always tell the truth. By the way, it's he's 8 now. He's not 12 anymore. That guy's
my fault.
Thank
That
you.
guy's dead. 8 died over there too on that turf. I ain't gonna like mine to switch to.
Yeah, well, this is the year he resurrects because we are going into San Francisco. I just think there's been too much distraction. Ayuk hasn't been practicing. Trent Williams hasn't been practicing. I think the 49ers are going to take a few weeks to get their shit together. And so I think the Jets go into San Francisco and win this game.
Yeah.
June?
And to piggyback off Kev's point, and my last point, the Jets might be the second most motivated team, understanding what could have been last year, seeing how things fell and the chips where they did, knowing the defense they had, and as bad as they struggled offensively, they still stayed in some games they probably had no business staying in. You got to be happy and imagine, wow, look, we got Mike Williams and Aaron Rodgers on this roster, active and healthy. Yeah, I do believe that they can go into San Francisco on Monday night and take that game. Are they? Yeah, I think they do. I got the Jets, second most motivated team. Most motivated team in the AFC, most motivated team in the NFC is going to go to the Lions, and they come out victorious on their prime time debuts 2024.
We'll get right back to football in 1 second. I want to kick it over to the diamond to the MLB wild card leads and division leaders. A lot of things going on right now. Yankees and Baltimore are tied for the division as of right now. Yankees live are losing to Texas. Kev, I don't know what's going on, man. We're like almost getting swept in every series in like the past 3 series. I'm not appreciating it. I sent you a text last night, June, where I told Kev, or the other night when we stopped potting, where I told Kev, Baltimore's going to win the AL East. Their schedule is a lot easier than the Yankees' schedule finishing off. But hey, we'll see what happens. Kev tends to disagree whenever I kind of.
Hold on. Y'all be texting about the Yankees behind my back? About them losing? That's crazy.
I didn't disagree. I told you that it might actually be beneficial for them because as of now, they have the worst home record of any playoff team. So playing a few series on the road, they've got the best road record of any playoff team. So playing a few series on the road to me,
hey man, it sounds like a losing strategy to me. But I mean, if that's how y'all get down,
I'm just saying.
All I'm saying
I
is
hear you. It could be beneficial.
And this is part of the non-bias that Kev brings, so we do appreciate it.
No, 1,000%, 1,000%. Atlanta right now barely holding on. We spoke about it on the last part when Miss Hallie Campbell was on the show. Atlanta barely holding on to their wild card spot, half a game lead on the Mets right now. June, is it going to be a miracle in City Field? Are we going to see the Mets in the postseason in these last 20 games? Can they make a run?
Hey, if the Mets had the Red Sox on their schedule again, I'm sure it can be possible. They'd probably take the lead in the NL East this week. I think we're lucky we don't have to continue playing the Mets. They're playing really good ball right now, and we are not. And so, what it is, I can't put my finger on it exactly. We're getting some good starting pitching. The bullpen has been a little shaky, but our offense is, I guess it's our offense. You know, we're a really good offense, and we rely on that behind, strong pitching, but we're not hitting the ball right now. We're not able to score runs. And so we've lost like 9, now 10 out of the last 13 with tonight's game. Um, and it's kind of the worst time to do it, early September. You have time still. You mentioned there's 20 games. We're only depending on, I think we're 5.5 out or 4.5 out now, depending on
Five and
today.
a half out of the
Yeah.
wild card.
And it's funny, my dad was texting me, or we was on the phone the other day, and he was like, "Man, what's up with the Red Sox? You're gonna miss the playoffs." I'm like, "Nah, man. Like, it's still games left." He's like, "Yo, y'all just keep losing. Y'all lose like 5 straight." I mean, every time I see y'all lose, I'm like, "Damn." And I'm like, you know what? We have been, and it is September 4th, but all it takes is for us to go on a 5-6 game win streak and just kind of get that energy back. The talent is there, the managing is there. We're not playing bad baseball. We're not like going out there and looking like last year's team. So it's just a slump at the wrong time. The Yankees are losing 10-2, by the way, top of the ninth, just to let y'all know. I won't be sending any texts tonight, but I will be letting y'all know that y'all are not going to win the AL East. I do agree with EP wholeheartedly. The Orioles, it's more of a shout out to them. And the Yankees have played amazing baseball this season. I think 2 weeks ago, I just yelled out some stats that they're leading the league in. It's like 7 of them. But the Orioles are just all around, and they've got it all. So what you got?
No, I just put together the fact that you praised the Yankees 2 weeks ago, and then everything started going to shit. So maybe you just lay off
And
giving
I'm
good
so
grace
glad you noticed that.
to the
You and shout out to Lou. When Lou hears this, man, shout out to you. He's gonna be like, "Yo, I fucking." He always does this. That's what he's. I hope he feels that. I hope he feels that. So, thanks for bringing that.
Hey man, Minnesota Twins, they are tied for the wild card right now with the Kansas City Royals, who I mean are 3-7 in the last 10, both teams, but Kansas City overall is playing some great ball right now. Do you guys see the Twins or the Royals holding on, or maybe even both of them?
Yeah, I think the Royals they've so I want to see the Royals do this because it's the last time. It's funny. The last time I lived in New York, the Royals were good. That was like Eric Hosmer and those days. But
Howard County.
Bobby Witt, bro. It's just Bobby Witt is so exciting. He's one of the best players in the game right now, and for him to be like, get the contract he got and bring this team to the playoffs, that's what I want to see. So the Twins can most certainly do it. They're position right now, but the Royals have been a team that I've been kind of hoping they'd lose out so the Red Sox can get that wild card spot, which the Red Sox are going to get the AL wild card spot, but it's going to be the Royals up there as well. So that's what I'm saying.
Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, the Twins and the Royals are just both making the playoffs.
Okay. All right, let's take it back to the NFL. Opening night tomorrow night, we have an AFC Championship game rematch. The Baltimore Ravens head over to Arrowhead Stadium and
Go.
play the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs 3-point favorites, as I mentioned earlier in the show. Vegas is saying they are about as advantageous in this game as their home field dictates. Kev, What do you expect from this AFC Championship rematch on ring night in Kansas City?
I expect a Lamar Jackson anytime touchdown. Uh, plus 220. And I expect a good game. Like I think we're gonna have a good football game. Probably gonna be a little sloppy here and there. Uh, but I'm excited to see Xavier Worthy play for the Chiefs. Um, Unfortunate that Hollywood Brown won't be able to go against his former team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but but I think it opens up more opportunities for Worthy, and I think he's going to be a dynamic player with Mahomes. Like I can see him getting in the end zone tomorrow, but I am just looking forward to having football back and being able to see two of the best teams in the league go
Yep.
at it.
Probably
Mm,
the best teams in the league.
yeah, Lamar Jackson, 1-4 career against the Kansas City Chiefs. I did watch that one game that he did win. I was at Bo Campers.
Was that the opening game?
That
Opening week?
was it was either week 1 or week 2. I believe it was actually the opening week.
Yeah, I
If
think
I'm
it
not
was a
mistaken.
Thursday night game.
Yeah, I
Where
was
it was
at.
like a fourth down situation. My fault. I
Mhm.
just
Nah, you're
I
good.
think
You're
it
good.
was
You're
that game.
good. It was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Sunday night. It was Sunday night game,
Mm,
and
okay.
whew, I remember that. I remember watching that game. It was tough to watch. There was a lot of errors on the Kansas City's part. June, do you expect a jittery game or like a solid game in this one?
No, I think we're gonna get a good game. This matchup is always fun. I think these teams are always prepared. We don't necessarily see the Ravens and the Chiefs kind of like last year. We had okay. Last year we had to see the Chiefs adjust all season as far as what their receiving core was and Patrick Mahomes figuring out how he wanted to distribute the ball. He figured it out. It did take a little bit of time for him to find other weapons outside of Travis Kelsey, but it was still fluid. Like Patrick Mahomes still made it look like things were gonna kind of going fine. The Ravens are a very run dominant team, and it's Derrick Henry they're adding in the backfield, so shouldn't be too hard to figure out there. My thing is Lamar Jackson versus this Chiefs defense. They're going to be full speed at it, and you look at Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews. Um, can they get it going? Are they going to be able to get it going? Is my question, and it's not necessarily a rust thing. I think it's the fact that Spags has that defense prepared, and that defense has talent to make this Ravens offense look uncomfortable. So we might just get a good game, in all, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Oh man, Derrick Henry, I think is going to be an X factor in this game. He has experience playing the Chiefs with his time in Tennessee, where the Chiefs and Tennessee frequently met in the postseason and in the regular season a couple of times for that matter. And I remember we had it was a hard day out for us whenever Derrick Henry had the ball when he was in Tennessee. So we'll see how that comes out. The 3 points obviously scares me. Vegas is telling us this is going to be a close game, which I do believe it will be. I don't know what to tell you to do. Taking under, taking over, take this, take that. Have a good night, Kev. You got something?
Yeah, I think that I do think the Chiefs win. Andy Reid's lost one game on opening his Chiefs career, and it was last year with a team that wasn't fully healthy. So I do think the Chiefs pull it out, but I think it's going to be a close one.
Let's take it over to college football, man. FSU 0-2 June. What do they immediately need to address?
You look. I don't know, bro. I don't, and because my thing is in college football, you kind of construct the roster before the season. You don't go and trade players. You can bench players. You can see who steps up. You can fire the coach. I think it's too early to fire Coach Norvell, and I don't think they're going to do that right now. Do you? When is it time to look to your backup? When is it time? Because what we saw week one was it looked like coaching, right? It looked like the coaches didn't want to give him the whole playbook and let DJ Uyunglele really let it loose. And on opportunities he might have had, he didn't himself. whatever that was, we see in week 2 versus Boston College at home that he's just missing throws, right? Bad quarterback play, throwing sidearm interceptions on plays where you could take a sack or nothing's there. That's the concerning part. And Mike Norvell is going to have to decide. I mean, am I going to stick with this 5th year or however many year 3 transfer guy, or am I going to bench him for the next guy? Because essentially, I want to, save my job and try to do the right thing and what's best for this football team. But is my backup even qualified to go out here, to start this ACC stuff for? And so for the Seminoles, they really got to ride this wave and kind of buckle up and play with pride. That's football. At the end of the day, it's a game, and you can win. The Seminoles can beat a top 5 team in the league if they had a better quarterback, I'll say. But thankfully, they don't have to play one next week. However, you can, it's any given Sunday. That's what they say, and so you have to play with pride, because we're going to get efforts like this. We're going to get efforts like what we saw Georgia Tech run for 190, yards on them. And that's just like, you're not even giving it your all every play. So if we start there and then, look at quarterback play, that might be something they can do. But honestly, it looks like them, along with Florida Gators, are just in for a long season and really might not win a lot of games. They were saying the Gators might really win 2 games this year. So
Oh man, Kev, what are you thinking about this FSU being 0-2 and what they may need to address immediately to turn the ship around?
Address everything, blow it up. Who cares? It's FSU, not me. So I'm just looking forward to October 26th at this point. I hope I can figure out a way to get to the game because the ticket prices are outrageous right now. But I'm hoping they come down a bit because I would love to be in the building for that. And yeah,
hey man, they keep losing. We might get some cheap tickets, bro.
Yeah, I
It
know.
is.
I'll tell you what though, they can lose every game on the schedule. This game is going to be $1,000 ticket.
Yeah, people are always going to pay to watch UMFSU regardless of what it is. And it's I've been to one UMFSU game, sat third row in the end zone, and it was a great game. It was the Jameis Winston, Dalvin Cook, up by I think it was 20-7 going into the
2016.
yeah. So
and missed the
when
field
Dalvin
goal,
Cook,
extra point. But yeah, you don't got to keep going on about it, bro.
yeah, I was there. So
I get it.
That's funny. Kev said, "Call an ambulance, but not for
Right.
me."
Right.
Oh man, listen. Texas at Michigan, number 3 at number 10, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Michigan Stadium. Quinn Ewers and company taking the trip up to Ann Arbor to play this top 10 rated team, and they are 7.5-point favorites on the road. June, is this game bigger than it may seem?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know that this game isn't looked at as a big game. I think that this is a test for both of these teams early on, right? We saw Michigan struggle in week 1, and it was Fresno State. So, new coach, new quarterback, new running back, things are just a little bit different. We're not expecting them to go and just go to the 2 seed and probably compete for the national championship this year. At least I'm not. However, we are expecting them to kind of dominate Big East play, murder anything outside of that when it comes to a Fresno State. But hey, here's a bump in the road. We got Texas and Quinn Ewers. Who'd they play last week? Did they play Texas play with Chattanooga or something like that? They played, I think, Tennessee Chattanooga or something like that. So
Nah,
it was
that
one of
was
those.
that was Tennessee that played Chattanooga.
Texas,
Colorado State.
Colorado
State. Thank you. They got their practice on, and it's always funny watching those games, bro. Because, hey, man, the school's getting that money. You playing that big team, you getting that money, but it's gonna be an ass whooping. And so we saw Quinn Ewers. We saw a little bit of what Arch Manning could do in the future. Isaiah Bond transferred from Alabama, and their true freshman wide receiver, Uh, his name just slipped me, but Texas true freshman wide receiver had a big game, and it's just exciting to see. So I think this game is a big game. Um, SEC versus Big Ten football, and Texas to me looks a little more poised and in position to win this game, if you ask.
Kev.
Yeah, it's definitely a big game. I think with the new college football playoff, it's not as big of a game as it would have been maybe even 5 years ago, where this could determine you making or not making the national championship game. Uh, but still a big game. Like you got two top 10 teams. Anytime you get
Yeah,
those two and two storied programs at that, it's always going to be a big game and a fun watch. So looking forward to it. I wish it was on prime time, but we get
right.
the
12
12 p.m.
o'clock
start.
game, it's crazy.
So it's a hell of a way to start the day.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. Oh yeah, I agree. Whew. Syracuse opens up conference play week 2 at home versus number 23 Georgia Tech. Does a win here, June, solidify top 15 for Georgia Tech?
Um, I think I wouldn't say solidify. I think it gives them a really good shot at cracking the top 15. I look in the top 15 right now, and you got a lot of deserving teams. And so they're going to have to bank on one of these teams. Michigan, Texas is obviously one of them is going to lose. Um, Utah, USC. Like, we don't know how this is going to go this week. Tennessee, I think Tennessee, we'll talk about them in a second, probably wins their game. So I, I wouldn't just say Georgia Tech jumps into the top 15, but they are inching close to that top 15, if not just right outside. And then, depending on how things go as far as their conference play, they're going to end up running into Miami, who just jumped up to 12, and that's last game of the season, granted. But if they both kind of do good this season, that'll have a bigger impact than this Georgia State, or excuse me, Georgia Tech versus Syracuse game. So I think Georgia Tech can definitely find an opportunity to get in the top 15, depending on the way things go Saturday across the country. But I don't think it's too likely.
Whew. Tennessee, sorry guys, Tennessee, NC State, like June was just mentioning. Number 15, Tennessee, last week moves up a spot to number 14 after a 69-3 win against Tennessee, Chattanooga. Now they got at number 24, NC State Wolfpack coming into town. Kev, should this be a cakewalk for Tennessee?
It shouldn't be a cakewalk for them. NC State, I think, is a pretty decent football team this year. So, and it's in NC State, and that's the primetime game that we get. So, um, I think, I think NC State's going to be, they're 1-0, looking to get to 2-0. And you talk about teams that can jump into the top 15. If you beat Tennessee convincingly and a couple of other teams in front of you lose, you could find yourself into the top 15, or right outside of it. So I actually think NC State has a better chance to get to the top 15 with a win this week than Georgia Tech
Yeah.
would. Georgia Tech's got to win. Their best win is over Florida State, who's now unranked and 0-2. So, and Florida State's on a bye week, so they can't really do anything to change that. So I think NC State with a win can definitely be looking at top 15 territory or right outside of that.
Yeah. Florida
Tennessee
State got
opened.
ahead of themselves. Sorry, I just wanted to say Florida State got ahead of the curve, getting 0-2 before anybody else.
Oh yeah, they dug themselves in the hole. It's going to be a little tough to get out of at this point. Tennessee opened as 4-point favorites. They are now 8-point favorites at NC State. June, is that too many points for Tennessee to cover on the road?
Yeah, I like Kev said, I think the fact that this is the primetime game, they're giving Nico, that spotlight. And he has the talent to take over this game and make this SEC versus ACC football game that, we they always think about, right? SEC dominates. No, I think that NC State might not come out victorious, but I don't think that Nico is just going to come out looking, amazing, making no mistakes. It's his first primetime game in a college uniform. There's a lot of hype around him. Tennessee in general, there's talent at that school. and they're supposed to win this game. Those are the moments where you got to see how players react to that. Light in your face. Where all right, it's the light in your face. You're not back against the wall, nothing to lose. This is lights in your face. Go take care of business. That's a
Mhm.
different mindset. So I'm interested to see how Nico comes out and takes care of business.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good game. I do think that Nico showed granted it was Chattanooga, but he showed a level of confidence that I think will carry over into this game. 8 points, a bit much. I don't think this is gonna be a cakewalk, or it should be a cakewalk, but I do perceive and foresee, I should say, foresee a Tennessee win. I don't think it's gonna be. I was watching the overtime earlier. Fox Sports Knox. Shout out to Ali Campbell. She was saying it's not
Yo,
gonna be a like blowout, but it's gonna be a solid win. It's not gonna be easy, but it'll be a solid win. And I think I full heartedly agree with that. Ooh, let's get into my favorite segment of the show, fair or foul, and we will start back in Philadelphia.
mm,
June. An Eagles victory silences the noise surrounding Sirianni and Hurts week one.
no, I don't think so, man. I think that things will kind of a win is gonna winning always cures everything, and enough of it will silence everything. But it's a what have you done for me lately league, and it's a what are we doing this week right now. So next week come around and y'all lose on some questionable shit. We're not gonna just say, well, you won week one in Brazil. What happened? And you're okay. We're gonna say, what the hell, coach? Is everything okay? Do you like your quarterback? Is he so? I think that getting a win in Brazil versus the Packers is going to do a number for that conversation, and I think it'll kind of put it, like all right, you get on the plane, this bag, you store it up here. You got the one where you put under the seat. You might grab some shit out of there throughout the flight. This one, when we get off, I'll get that. I think it goes there, and so it's not silence because you got to grab the bag at the end of the flight. You still got to walk with it through the airport. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Still baggage, but it's like, however, if you place that bag incorrectly, and then Susie comes up and she wants to get her bag, and now that bag fucking hits Susie when she opens the we got to talk about it. So that's where the Eagles, for me, are at with this question. I do not think a win here silences the conversation on that.
Kev, real quick, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going foul also. They started 10-1 last season and it meant nothing. So they can start
Mm.
10-1 this year again and it's still going to mean nothing until you get back to the Super Bowl and you win it. So foul.
Ooh, kid.
Oh man. All right. Let's take it over to ring night, opening night tomorrow.
Mm,
Kev, Mahomes and Kansas City will beat the Ravens on their way to the first ever back to back to back Super
mm,
Bowl victory.
Damn. Well, I
mm.
just realized I gave my answer to the game earlier when I said I think the Chiefs pull it out. So that's my bad. So, um, but second part of this question, they will not be on their way to a back to back to back because the New York Jets are winning the Super Bowl.
Oh God.
Fair enough. Fair
June.
enough. My opinion is that they are on their way back to a back to back to back. The only caveat I have here is that if the Colts play the Chiefs in the playoffs, they not Chiefs. Listen, Patrick Mahomes ain't beat the Colts yet in his whole career. That's all I'm gonna say, and he has played them before. If we don't have to see them and we whatever we lose some other way, I do think the Chiefs, if they make it to the Super Bowl, they win it again. There's no way the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl this year and lose. So if they get there, we're gonna see history, and I'll be excited to see that. I'm not gonna lie, back to back to
So
back. That's pretty
so
fucking crazy.
this isn't gonna be like Patriots '07 where you go almost undefeated and then
I mean, shit. Like I don't care. At the end of
losing.
the day, like I just want to see a good game, But for the sake of like in the moment, if the game is winnable, I would like to see Patrick Mahomes come in and be the guy who came and won 3 straight Super Bowls. Like that's insane. You know what I'm saying? There has to, and there has to doesn't have to, but like imagine Patrick Mahomes. We're already talking about him being the best quarterback ever, possibly better than Tom Brady, which is crazy. But next in line, right there, doing this is now. It's like, all right, this guy might be the best quarterback ever right now, for sure, no question. Like that might be the case. And you got to look at the teams where this is the whole other argument. But like Brady had the defenses and amazing teams, and Patrick Mahomes has had really good teams and made it work with a lot of shit. So, shout out to the Chiefs. If they do that, man, I wouldn't be surprised. I would just be amazed at the fact that we're watching history. But hey, man, hopefully they don't play the Colts in the second round of the playoffs, boy.
Last one, fellas. Last one. The ACC champion in college football will receive a bid to the college playoffs. Kev, the ACC champion will be looked at less than, almost like a participation trophy. Fair or foul?
That's foul. I mean, you still got to go through the season. You don't choose the conference that you play in. Well, technically speaking, whatever.
Change.
But
that's the name of the season.
But you're in that conference. These are the rules. Like, yeah, I get an automatic bid to the college playoff if I win my conference in the group of 5. So, or in the Power 5 conferences. So, ACC is still considered a Power 5 conference. They're still going to get their automatic bid, and then it's time to go prove it that you belong there. Like, that's the only way to do it. You look at what happened last year with FSU, and they're crying about not making the playoff when it was clear after Jordan Travis got hurt what kind of team they were, and then they go lose 63 to 3. Was it?
Yeah, it was bad.
Bad. Well, like you didn't belong there without the quarterback that you had all year, and so it's like that you got to go in and you got to prove it. People are going to always doubt. People are always going to think that the ACC or these other teams can't compete with the SEC, and when it comes time to it, there's going to be proof, and it's going to be one way or the other.
Yeah, I think it's foul, right? I do think it's foul. The ACC is still a Power 5 conference, as Kev said. Now, I do see a world where the Miami Hurricanes win the ACC this year, and it's the Mickey Mouse ACC trophy, and it's but FSU fucking sucks. Oh, but who'd you play? Oh, but you guys didn't even play Clemson, like, or whatever the case. Like, I could see that happening, and so I think it is a fair question, but I think the answer to the question is foul.
Yeah, I agree, man. Fuck y'all, and Miami is gonna win the ACC this year. Fuck y'all, bro. 1000%. All about the U. Gentlemen, you guys got anything else you want to get into before we get out of
Go
here?
Colts, baby. Nah, man. Anthony Richardson, week 1, bro. You know what I'm saying? Go Colts. We got the Texans. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait. The energy's going to be there. I'm going to be clapping loud. And go Canes. You know what I'm saying? Ball State, is it, Kev? Is it Ball State at noon?
Yeah.
Let's go take that top off, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
home opener.
I'm still on Ohtani watch. I'll be in Atlanta next weekend. Hopefully going to go to the Dodgers game while I'm there. But I found out Dodgers are coming to Miami right after Atlanta. So there's a little stretch where I've got the opportunity. So I'm going to try to make it happen.
That boy is literally on Shohei watch.
I'm not going to lie. One of the best Marlins games I've been to was Sandy on the mound against the Dodgers at Lone Depot. Dodgers in Miami, Dodgers fans travel well.
I've done that, yeah.
Dodgers in Miami, it's different.
For sure.
There's a lot of Shohei fans down here.
Yeah. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, as we come up on this hour 10 mark, this has been your Wednesday night All Things Sports Talk Show, your number one sports talk show, brought to you by Small Town Productions. If you tapped in on the live, thank you so much for coming to hang out and show some love as we're back to give you the real in sports. And if you're tuned in after the fact, thank you for taking time out of your day. Week 1, enjoy it this weekend. Go Canes, go Chiefs. Tap in with ATS. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.